Imagine this. A man spends months chasing a woman, giving her all his time, energy, and attention. He texts her good morning, checks in throughout the day, plans dates, and makes sure she knows he cares, but instead of appreciating it, she starts pulling away. The more he tries, the more she seems uninterested. Sound familiar? Now fast forward a few months. That same guy, heartbroken and tired, finally stops trying. He shifts his focus entirely. He starts hitting the gym, working on his business, traveling, upgrading his wardrobe, and even spending time with other people without worrying about what she's doing. He's no longer waiting by the phone, no longer stuck in his feelings, and then out of nowhere, she pops back up. "Hey, how have you been?" Why does this happen? Why is it that the moment you stop giving a woman all of your attention, she suddenly starts missing you? Well, studies show that people tend to value something more when they feel like they might lose it. According to psychological research, the scarcity principle makes anything that seems rare or difficult to obtain instantly more desirable. Think about luxury brands. Why do people pay thousands for a bag? Because not everyone can have it. Now apply that same principle to dating. The moment she realizes you're no longer at her beck and call, you become scared. You become something she can't easily access. And that's when her mind starts playing tricks on her. She starts wondering, did I make a mistake? Why isn't he chasing me anymore? Who is he spending his time with? That's the shift that makes her miss you. Picture this scenario. There's a guy named Jake. He was crazy about his ex, Sarah. After she ended things, he was devastated. He begged, double-texted, stalked her social media, and made every possible effort to stay in her life. And what did Sarah do? She ignored him, left him on read. She was out partying, living her best life, and didn't seem to care. But then Jake decided to change everything. He hit the gym hard. He got a fresh haircut. He started posting photos looking confident, happy, and surrounded by people. Instead of sulking over her, he focused on building himself into a man he was proud of. He wasn't faking it. He actually became the best version of himself. And guess what? A few months later, Sarah slid into his DMs with a, "Hey, stranger." She suddenly cared, suddenly wanted to catch up, not because she loved him, but because she felt his absence. She saw that he was doing fine, better than fine, without her. That's when the regret kicked in. Now, ask yourself, are you giving off the energy of a man who is needed or a man who is chasing? Because women don't miss the guy who's always available, who's always in their face, who never gives them a chance to wonder what he's up to. Women miss the man who is too busy living his best life to worry about whether she texts back or not. Think about celebrities. Why do women obsess over famous athletes, musicians, and actors? Because these men exude success, confidence, and purpose. They're not sitting around waiting for validation. They're focused on their craft, and that focus makes them desirable. Now, you don't have to be a millionaire or a superstar to have the same effect. All you have to do is start treating yourself like you are valuable, because you are. If she doesn't feel your absence, she won't have a reason to miss you. If she always knows where you are, what you're doing, and that you're still emotionally attached, she has no reason to rethink anything. But the moment you step back, truly step back, and level up, she will feel it. So, let me ask you this. Are you making her feel your absence, or are you making it too easy for her to move on? If you want to be missed, you have to become someone worth missing. And if you're ready to step into that version of yourself, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because this is just the beginning. There's a saying, you don't know what you've got until it's gone. And that couldn't be more true when it comes to relationships. Women don't start missing you when you're always there, always available, always just one text away. They start missing you when they realize your presence was part of their daily life, and now it's gone. Think about this. Studies show that it takes an average of 66 days to form a habit. That means if a woman was used to waking up to your good morning texts, getting random check-ins throughout the day, and hearing your voice at night, you became a habit in her life. Whether she admitted it or not, she had built part of her routine around you. But here's the twist. When something becomes too familiar, it starts to lose value. Let's take Mike's story as an example. Mike was in a situationship with a woman named Lisa. They weren't officially together, but Mike treated her like a queen, always texting first, making sure she ate, checking on her when she was stressed. He was her emotional support, the guy she could always count on. But one day, Lisa started acting distant. She took longer to reply. She stopped initiating conversations. She started treating Mike like an option. Mike was frustrated. He couldn't understand what changed. He was doing everything right, so why was she pulling away? Then something clicked. He realized he had made himself too available. He was too predictable. Lisa never had to wonder what he was doing because he was always just one text away. She never had to miss him because he never gave her space to. So Mike did something different. He pulled back. No more good morning texts. No more how's your day going calls. No more always being the first to reach out. Instead, he focused on himself. He got busy with work, spent more time with friends, hit the gym harder than ever, and even started talking to other women. And guess what happened? About a week later, Lisa texted him out of the blue. "Hey, you good? Haven't heard from you." That's when Mike knew it was working. She had started noticing his absence. She realized that the guy who was once always there was no longer just sitting around waiting for her attention. She started wondering if he had moved on, wondering who he was spending his time with, wondering if maybe, just maybe, she had taken him for granted. Now let me ask you this. How many times have you been in Mike's shoes? How many times have you given someone all your time and energy only to feel like they don't appreciate it? Here's the truth most guys don't want to hear. People value what they have to work for. When you're always available, there's no urgency, no excitement, no reason for her to chase you. But when you disappear from her routine, even just a little, it triggers something deep inside her. She starts to feel that void. Think about it like this. Have you ever had a favorite song that you played over and over again until one day it didn't hit the same? But then, after weeks or months of not hearing it, you randomly hear it again, and suddenly you remember why you loved it so much? That's exactly how the human mind works with relationships. Absence creates appreciation, and this doesn't mean you have to play games or pretend to be someone you're not. It simply means you need to stop making yourself so predictable. Instead of texting her first every morning, let her wake up and wonder why her phone is dry. Instead of always saying yes to last-minute plans, make her realize that your time is valuable. Instead of being her emotional safety net, let her see what life feels like without you in it. Because the moment she starts feeling your absence, that's when the switch flips. That's when she starts checking her phone, rereading old messages, and realizing how much she actually enjoyed your presence. That's when the doubt creeps in, and she starts asking herself, did I make a mistake? Now here's what you need to do. Stop being the guy who's always there. Become the guy who is missed. If you're ready to take control and make her feel your absence, hit that like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because trust me, there's more game-changing advice coming your way. There's something about competition that changes the way people think. It's wired into human psychology. We don't just want things, we want things that other people want. And nowhere is this more obvious than in relationships. Here's a shocking stat. Studies in social psychology have shown that people tend to desire something more when they believe it's in high demand or difficult to obtain. This is why luxury brands thrive. Why do you think people are willing to wait in long lines for exclusive sneakers or pay extra for a sold-out handbag? Because the fact that other people want it makes it more valuable. Now think about how this applies to dating. The moment a woman sees that other women are showing interest in you, something clicks in her mind. She starts viewing you through a completely different lens. You're no longer just an option, you're now a prize. Let's take Josh's story as an example. Josh had been chasing after his ex Nicole for months. She had broken things off, saying she needed space and wasn't sure about their future. But deep down, Josh still hoped she would come back. So, like many guys do, he kept his focus on her. He wasn't dating anyone new. He wasn't really putting himself out there. His social media, still dry. No signs of him moving on. No signs of him having fun. Just the same old posts, mostly about work and the occasional gym selfie. Nicole wasn't paying attention. She had moved on, or at least she thought she had. But then something changed. Josh started talking to a new girl. He wasn't trying to make Nicole jealous. He was genuinely enjoying himself. He started going out more, posting pictures with friends, laughing, having fun, and here's the key part, he wasn't focused on her anymore. And guess what? Nicole noticed. One night, she randomly texted him, "Wow, you're out a lot these days. Who's that girl in your story?" She hadn't messaged him in weeks. She wasn't interested when he was just sitting around waiting for her, but the moment she saw another woman giving him attention, suddenly she was curious. Suddenly she felt that uncomfortable feeling creeping in, the feeling of losing something that once belonged to her. Here's the truth. Women don't just want a man, they want a man that other women want. It's not about playing games. It's about basic human psychology. When something is in demand, it creates urgency. It forces a person to reevaluate their decisions. Ask yourself, how many times have you overlooked something until someone else wanted it? A job, a car, even a piece of clothing. You might not have cared at first, but the moment you saw someone else wanting it, you suddenly needed it. That's exactly what happens in dating. This is why the guys who are constantly chasing one girl often get ignored, while the guys who have multiple options always seem to attract more attention. It's the social proof effect. If other women see you as attractive, desirable, and worth their time, that sends a powerful signal. And once a woman sees that, it becomes hard to ignore. Think about celebrities. A male singer can go from being relatively unknown to having thousands of women fawning over him the moment he blows up. Did his face change? Did his personality suddenly improve overnight? No. The difference is, now he's in demand. Now, let's make this personal. Are you making yourself look like a man who is wanted? Or are you making yourself look like a man who is waiting? Because the harsh truth is, if a woman thinks no other woman wants you, she'll assume there's a reason. But if she sees that other women are paying attention, she'll start to wonder what she might be missing. And here's the best part. You don't even have to fake it. You don't need to post staged photos or try to make her jealous on purpose. All you have to do is actually start living your life. Go out, meet new people, build connections, and genuinely enjoy yourself. The moment you shift your focus away from waiting for her and start focusing on your own value, she will feel it, because nothing makes a woman miss you more than realizing she's no longer the center of your world and someone else might be taking her place. If you want to start shifting the power back in your favor, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because we're just getting started. There's a moment in every breakup or fading relationship that changes everything. It's not when the arguments happen. It's not even when the texts slow down. It's the moment she realizes you're no longer emotionally invested. Here's a shocking truth. Studies show that people are more likely to want something back when they feel like they've lost control over it. In psychology, this is called reactance. When someone senses that their influence over you is slipping, they suddenly start craving what they once took for granted. Think about it. How many times have you seen someone break up with their partner only to want them back the second they move on? It happens all the time. And that's because as long as she feels like she still has access to your emotions, she doesn't feel the loss. But the moment she senses that you've detached, it hits differently. Let's talk about Marcus. Marcus had been in love with his ex, Rachel, for years. She was his world. And when she ended things, he was devastated. He tried everything to get her back. He kept texting, trying to stay friends, checking in, hoping she would realize what they had. But the more he held on, the colder she became. One day, something inside Marcus snapped. He woke up and realized how much time he had wasted chasing someone who clearly didn't value him. That was the day he stopped caring. He didn't announce it. He didn't try to make her jealous. He just let go, mentally, emotionally, completely. And guess what happened? A few weeks later, Rachel reached out. It wasn't because she missed his texts. It was because she could feel that his energy had shifted. She could feel that she no longer had the same emotional hold on him, and that bothered her. See, a woman might say she wants space. She might act like she doesn't care, but the second she senses that you're truly over it, that's when reality kicks in. She starts questioning everything. Wait, is he really done with me? Does he not love me anymore? This happens because of something called emotional withdrawal shock. When someone is used to being the center of your attention, your affection becomes their comfort zone, even if they don't consciously acknowledge it. The moment you remove that emotional energy, they start feeling the loss, even if they were the ones who walked away. Now ask yourself, are you making it too easy for her to assume she still has control over your emotions? Most guys mess up by keeping the door open emotionally. They stay in contact, they check in, they stay friends, or they leave little hints that they're still hoping for another chance. But all that does is keep her comfortable. She doesn't have to miss you, because in her mind, you're still there, still waiting. But when you detach, when you truly move on, when you start focusing on your own life and stop giving her the emotional reactions she expects, that's when the tables turn. Think about social media. Have you ever posted something and kept checking to see if a certain person liked it? If they normally engage but suddenly don't, you start wondering why. You start thinking about them more. That's exactly how the mind works with relationships. When she stops getting that emotional validation from you, her mind starts racing. And let's be real, if she thought she could do better, why would she suddenly be thinking about you? It's because deep down, people want certainty. And when you were emotionally invested, she had certainty. But now that you've pulled back, now she has questions. Imagine if starting today, you stopped reacting. No more emotional messages. No more waiting for her to come back. No more subtle hints that you still care. Imagine how powerful that would be. How different would she see you if she realized you were truly gone? Because here's the truth. She doesn't miss you when you chase. She misses you when you stop caring. And if you're ready to reclaim your power, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because this is just the beginning. There's a reason why people don't appreciate the air they breathe until they're gasping for it. It's always there, constant, reliable, unnoticed. But take it away for just a few moments, and suddenly, Nothing else matters. That's exactly how emotional presence works in relationships. Studies show that the human brain is wired to respond more strongly to loss than to gain, a psychological principle called loss aversion. In other words, people don't truly value something until they feel like it's slipping away. A woman won't start missing you when she thinks she still has access to you. She starts missing you when she realizes you've become unreachable. Let's talk about Chris. Chris had been in an on-again, off-again situation with his ex Emma. Every time she pulled away, he would chase her. If she needed space, he waited for her. If she stopped replying, he doubled his effort. He was always an option for her, always available, always waiting, and guess what? She never truly valued him. She always knew he'd be there. Even when she got distant, she had no fear of losing him. He was like an old playlist, something she could come back to whenever she felt like it. But then something shifted. One day, Chris decided he was done being an option. No dramatic texts, no emotional goodbyes. He just walked away. He stopped replying. He stopped checking her social media. He stopped making her feel like she still had a place in his life. And for the first time, Emma felt something she had never felt before: uncertainty. A few weeks later, she messaged him, "Hey, haven't heard from you. Are you okay?" She had spent months ignoring his texts, but the moment she sensed his absence, something inside her changed. She started checking his social media. She started wondering what he was doing, who he was with, if he had moved on. Why? Because when a man becomes truly unreachable, he becomes valuable. Ask yourself, are you making yourself too easy to reach, too predictable, too available? Because women don't miss men who are always an option. They miss men who have become a mystery. Think about celebrities. Why do people go crazy over actors, musicians, and athletes? Because they are hard to reach. Their time is valuable, their attention is rare, and anything that is rare automatically becomes desirable. Now, this doesn't mean you have to be famous. It just means you need to stop being too accessible. Stop being the guy who answers every text immediately. Stop being the guy who's always waiting for her. Start becoming the guy whose time is in demand. Think about your own life. Have you ever noticed how people treat you differently when you become busier? When you start working on yourself, hitting the gym, focusing on your career, and genuinely living your life, people sense it. Your energy shifts, and suddenly the people who once overlooked you start paying attention. That's because people are drawn to value. If a woman sees that you're too easy to reach, she assumes you have nothing else going on. But if she sees that you're a man in motion, a man who isn't sitting around waiting, she starts seeing you differently. And here's the best part. You don't have to fake this. You just have to actually start becoming the guy whose life is too full, too exciting, too valuable to be spent waiting for someone who isn't giving you the same energy in return. Imagine if starting today you stopped responding so quickly. You stopped making yourself an option. You stopped letting her feel like she could reach you whenever she wanted. Imagine how different she would feel if she started realizing that access to you is no longer guaranteed, because the moment she senses she can't reach you the way she used to, that's when she starts missing you. That's when the doubt creeps in. That's when she starts replaying old memories, checking her phone, wondering what changed. She doesn't miss the guy who's always there. She misses the guy who becomes a mystery. And if you're ready to make her feel your absence, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because this is just the beginning.
There's something powerful about regret. It doesn't hit all at once, it creeps in slowly, moment by moment, until one day it's impossible to ignore. And the one thing that makes a woman regret losing you more than anything else seeing you become the man she always wished you were, but now she no longer has access to you. Here's a shocking truth. Studies show that 70% of people experience regret over past relationships, especially when they see their ex thriving without them. It's not the breakup itself that triggers the regret. It's the realization that they walked away from someone who kept growing, kept evolving, and became better without them. Let's talk about Jason. Jason was in love with his ex, Ava. He did everything for her, prioritized her over his friends, put his own goals on hold, and made her the center of his world. But over time, Ava lost interest. She started treating him differently, picking fights over small things, and eventually she ended it. Jason was heartbroken. He spent weeks wondering what went wrong, replaying every moment in his head. But then something shifted. Instead of sitting in his pain, he decided to level up. He hit the gym harder than ever. He started a new business. He rebuilt his confidence. He stopped living for someone else and started focusing on becoming the best version of himself. Months later, Ava saw him again, but this wasn't the Jason she remembered. He looked different. He carried himself differently. He had a new energy, a confidence she hadn't seen before. And for the first time, a thought crossed her mind. Did I make a mistake? See, people don't regret losing someone who stays the same. They regret losing someone who becomes everything they ever wanted after they're gone. And that's where most men go wrong. They think begging, pleading, or trying to prove their worth will make a woman miss them. But that's not how attraction works. A woman won't miss the man who stays stuck in the past. She misses the man who moves forward so powerfully that she starts questioning why she ever left. Ask yourself, if she saw you 6 months from now, would she be shocked by how much you've grown? Or would she see the same man she walked away from? The best revenge isn't anger. It's not trying to make her jealous. The best revenge is becoming the man she can't ignore. Think about it like this. Have you ever seen an old friend years later and they had completely changed? Maybe they lost weight, built an amazing career, or just carried themselves with a new level of confidence. And in that moment, you felt a sense of shock like, wow, they really leveled up. That's the exact feeling a woman gets when she sees her ex becoming a man she didn't expect. And that's when the regret hits. That's when she starts wondering, was I too quick to leave? Did I overlook something valuable? And the best part, you don't even have to do it for her. You do it for you. Because once you start growing, once you start evolving, you'll realize something important. She wasn't the prize, you were. Imagine if, starting today, you made the decision to fully invest in yourself, to hit the gym, to chase your goals with relentless focus, to improve every single aspect of your life. Imagine the confidence you'd build, the respect you'd earn, the energy you'd carry. Now imagine what happens when she sees that. Because women don't miss the guy who stays the same. They miss the guy who becomes everything she ever wanted when it's too late. And if you're ready to take control, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because this is just the beginning.